This is a tricky one, colleagues. This bill was heard this morning in a committee, and tricky because there were a number of amendments that were taken, and if I understand it correctly, what we are going to do with this bill is you have agreed to revise the bill. I'm not going to say gut and amend because it really isn't the gut and amend, but we are going to take the content of this in such a fashion so that it will reflect the commitment that was made this morning.
Absolutely. If
that the bill will mirror the FCC rules while retaining the pay for privacy restriction, which promotes equity and protects privacy of all Californians, regardless of their income level. That's my understanding. That's a direct quote. Is that accurate?
that is correct, Madam Chair. And I just want to make it a public commitment in front of the committee that I will try to substantially mirror our bill with the FCC rules on the points of differences while retaining that provision, i.e. the pay for privacy provision, which promotes equity and protects the privacy of all Californians regardless of their income level. So absolutely, that is the commitment that I'm making right now.
So what I would like to do, and again, this is only because this bill was heard this morning, this is not something that I think any of us really prefer as the preferred method, is I would like the witnesses who come to talk about this bill, both in support or if there's any opposition, to focus only on the bill as it will be amended. So in other words, our analysis does cover some of it, but the issues before us now, because of those amendments, simply deal, well not simply, will mirror the FCC rules and and retain the pay for privacy restriction, which are the commitments made this morning about how this bill is going to be moving forward. So if we all agree on that, if you'd like to present, focusing on that, sure. And the witnesses, two witnesses, excuse me, let me finish. 2 witnesses, 2 minutes each, and I'm going to hold you to that. Yes, Senator Anderson.
Is there any chance that we could hold this over until we get it in print? We're going to be hearing a bill that's not in print, and it's also arbitrary, and man, I'd really like to have my fingers on it. So is there any chance that we can wait until we come back from break and actually hear it while it's in print and everyone knows what we're talking about?
Let's hold just a second.
It's kind of magical and mystical.
So here's what we're going to do because we're under these time constraints. We will hear the bill, we will vote on it. If the bill is approved, it will go to rules. In rules, those amendments will be placed, and if we are not happy with them, we will bring it back and reserve the right to hear the bill at that time. So that's the way we're going to proceed. And again, so that we all have, there is an FCC rule that this will mirror, and that's what we'll talk about today with that additional item. That is included in the analysis here. If this does not meet the items that were discussed and the understanding that was reached this morning, so the matter, this has been heard. There was a full debate. There was an agreement by the author and the committee, so that we will hear that agreement today, and then it will go to rules where the bill will be worked out.
Absolutely.
We will reserve the right to bring the bill back to our committee at that time. All right? So,
Chair, is this
I understand.
Time in history that we've
No.
done this?
It is not, but it's not something that we do commonly, and it is not the preferred way to do it. That's why we're going to be involved in the discussion in rules, and if there's any question, we will then hear it again. It has had a hearing, though, so that's the difference. It was heard in full, I think, in a robust hearing this morning. It was just in another committee. So we're going to work on the bill in the interim and make sure that it is consistent with the items that were discussed and the representations and the promises and everything that were made at that time. So that's what we'll do.
If one of us has a question about the bill, you'll bring it back so we can ask the question? Or if you have a question about the bill, you'll bring it back? How does that work?
If the bill,
this is the first time for me
right,
in 11 years.
I understand.
I've never actually had a bill that...
If the bill doesn't reflect what was the agreement made today by which the bill was voted out of committee this morning, it will come back to us. So
it hasn't been typed.
It is not typed. No, it's not typed. But
there's a reference in the analysis to what the
right.
Page 14 of the analysis says the text. I understand is the subject of the agreed to amendment.
Correct. Correct. So it is in our analysis, and what we're going to do is focus on just what was agreed to. Page 14 of the analysis, and the motion will be to, for this bill to go to rules. It will be finalized, if you will, there based upon the agreements. If we have some, if it does not meet what we understand the agreement to be, we will then pull it back to our committee and hear it then. All right, so there is a reference to this on page 14 of the analysis.
And just a maneuver to get more green, is it?
Get more what?
More green.
More green?
By not actually having the physical document.
Oh, I see. Well, we do
We're
have...
much greener now. We're just going to talk about
We're
things.
definitely greener, but that was not the intention here.
This is the greenest committee. I just want to say that.
Are we? Well, I'm not sure that is our jurisdiction, but I think that's a good thing anyway. Senator Hertzberg.
Just so I get this, I apologize, I was outside the room, so I didn't get the whole presentation, so I'm sorry, but I did get it all this morning. I was in part of that. Mr. Stern and I serve on that other committee.
Yes.
The Energy Committee as well. So the notion is that basically there'll be the broad instruction, I just read the paragraph here on page 14, based upon that discussion, the discussion today, rules will take that. Isn't it, as a consequence, isn't it, I didn't look, is it keyed fiscal? Does it go to approps? It does? So somehow it goes to...
It's key non-fiscal, Senator.
Key non-fiscal?
Non-fiscal.
Non-fiscal. So
Right.
go to rules. Rules will then take the amendments as they interpret it. This committee and Energy Committee will look at
We'll be working on it.
it on the,
Yeah, it's,
with Mr. McGuire and another committee, another issue, kind of that thing. And then you'll decide it looks good. And then if that's the case,
right.
what happens to it? It goes to the floor?
The Rules Committee will make a determination at that point in time. It's not a usual thing. This is not unheard of. It's not even rare. It's just uncommon. And so that's the way we're going to address the bill, and it will go to Rules. And since both of you were in that committee, if there's some discussion here that is a cause for concern or appears there's something moving in a different direction, I would hope that you would address that in your comments. So with that, 2 minutes focusing as requested. And
Madam Chair, so it's just this paragraph right here. The whole crux of this bill is one paragraph.
the whole crux is that we're now going to refer to the FCC rule, which is not only in print, but it is the FCC rule that was in place that has, since the current administration, been revoked. It was a rule that was in place. I think it was effectuated in 2014, has been in effect until this year. That is what is going to be subsumed into 375, or is going to replace the current language of 375, with the exception of the provision which I just read. Okay, the pay for privacy issue.
I'm fascinated by this issue. There's so much to it. and we're trying to cram it through in a half an hour or less. And I'm not going to be able to support the bill today because I just don't think this is fully vetted. And sending it to Rules Committee, and when I went through and we had one paragraph, we don't even have the FCC stuff in front of us, I just really think that there was more meat on the bone on single payer, and it was only 38 pages. So I won't be supporting it today. I am very interested in the subject matter. Both sides have made compelling arguments. I just wish we could drill down deeper. I think something of this magnitude deserves better from us than this short ramrodded through. I get people hate Trump, and I get people want to make a statement against the Trump administration, but that's no reason why we punish our constituents. So I hope that we have more time to discuss this before it gets to the floor.
And I'd like to clarify, this has nothing to do with everybody hating Trump. This has to do with privacy. This has to do with something the FCC and the federal government should be taking the lead. Instead, they're going backwards, repealing laws. They're indicating they don't have jurisdiction. California continues to step up because we believe in privacy. We believe that people have the right to make choices. It's unfortunate we have an administration that disagrees with the fundamental principles that we have in this state. It's not going to deter us. We are definitely in an area and in a world where these issues must be addressed. They just are not going to go away, and probably better to address them now before we're further down the road and it's more difficult to be able to make the kinds of adjustments that reflect the values of the people of our state, and I suspect our nation as well. With that, I would appreciate a motion to pass to rules. Motion by Senator Hertzberg, and I'm sure this will be the subject of further discussion.